Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Hollywood After Dark for the 25th of October, 2021. Tonight, Dave Chappelle versus the trans community. The Gauntlet has been thrown. The Trench movie was reportedly a Black Manta film. And Doctor Strange 2 getting more reshoots. All of that and more here tonight. Let's get into it. Hollywood After fucking Dark. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to the show tonight. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. It's pouring down rain here in the Northwest. It's gloomy, it's gray, it's moody, introspective weather that really makes you start to understand why they say you want to go down the street, not across the road. Anyway, I'm totally kidding on that one, but let us quickly say hello to our channel members. You are the folks who keep this podcast alive. Of course, we got the IMAX members here. I need to add Rational Skeptic to the mix. He joined in last night. He upped his membership last night. I did not get to that today. I apologize, but he will be there tomorrow. These are our IMAX members. You guys are the goats, the pseudo goats, the secondary goats, the amazing goats are still my lovely prime members here. And we've also got the matinee members. You guys are also the backbone of the channel. I really appreciate everyone. Remember, if you want to get your name on this list and you want to get your name in the running for a 4K Ultra UHD copy of the thing, be sure to join or become a channel member before the end of the month. Couple more days to go to get in on that one, so I appreciate that. But before we dive in to the meat and potatoes, the ball sack of the evening, I'm going to be inviting in my friend, your friend. You know him, you love him. Anna, what's going on?
Wow, thank you for inviting me in to enjoy the ball sack of the evening.
Yes.
I've never heard that terminology used before to describe.
You know what? It immediately came to me, and I thought to myself, I'm just going to run with this to the best of my ability.
So that's our schedule here on.
That's how this works. Yeah. It's the ball sack of entertainment, pop culture coverage. You know.
That sounds appropriate to me, honestly.
You know what? It kind of does, because sometimes sometimes it gets real hot, and then it dangles in the toilet water, just kind of bobs a little bit in there, and you're like, all right, I get it.
It's just like that.
It's just like the cesspool that is Hollywood.
Anyway, yeah, you had. We talk about news on this show sometimes. Sometimes, and everything. I do want to find a way to bring in more segments. I don't quite know how to do that necessarily. You know, like new Blu-ray Tuesday or some shit like that, or whatever's coming out. There's always things that aren't necessarily just movie related to talk about. Well, movie news coverage. There's a lot that's happening in the industry, as always. And of course, I actually did try to schedule the stream a little bit earlier tonight, but I was kind of captivated by Dune, because I was wrapping up watching that. So as I said last night when I got done with the stream, I'm like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start Dune. And then I start watching it, and I get about an hour into it, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm like, I pause it for a second, and I see that it's got like an hour and a half left to go. And I'm like, shit, it's already like after 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, I cannot stay up this late. I got to take my kid to school. So, I end up just pausing it, going to bed, wake up, oversleep my alarm, rush my daughter out the door, get her to school. We pull on up. And they're like, there's no one out there. We're like, what the hell's going on? And then an aide comes out and just says, oh yeah, did you guys not get the reminder? There's no school today. Oh my God.
She's been out for over a week because she was sick. So part of the whole process is you have to keep her out for like almost 2 weeks and then go and get her a COVID test. So like that was the other thing too. Yesterday is I had to give my 4-year-old a COVID test and then pray that she wasn't sick with COVID. And so then this morning I had the documentation, I had the paperwork, she was ready to go. And I felt terrible because we pull up to school. All she wants to do is go to school. And then I'm like, sorry, kiddo, there's no school today. And imagine to a 4-year-old what that must feel like. Damn. It's like the biggest tease of all time. Because she's like, I'm going to go see my friends. I'm going to go see my teacher. We're going to sing Piggy Song, which is it's the Taylor Swift cover of Shake It Off from the movie Sing. So that's what she refers to as Piggy Song. So she really likes the Sing soundtrack. And then I'm like, sorry, kiddo, there's no school today. And we go pulling away. And she had one of the most epic freaking meltdowns my child has had. And my child can have some seriously epic meltdowns, as every toddler can. This was bad, and I felt terrible because there's like nothing I could do about it. I just had to take her home and then play Sing, so that at least calmed her down a little bit until we got home, and then I had to turn off the music, and that that immediately set her back into the mood. It's been a very interesting day, to say the least. So anyway, when they went to bed, I sat down and I booted up Dune and I finished watching it. And I have to say, I need to go see this in theaters. It's good on HBOMax. It's good in 4K on a 55-inch television. But I feel like it is something that should be seen on the big screen, you know?
No, there's some movies that just need to be seen on the big screen. I feel you.
Yeah. Oh no, it's absolutely a movie that needs to be seen on the big screen. And it's one because I have a nice pair of headphones. I have my Bose headphones that I was using, and it sounds great. Hans Zimmer's score is amazing, and it's I really enjoy the movie. But it's also one where I'm like, I don't necessarily feel like if I didn't see it in theaters, I would be remiss. Like, as a theater junkie, I want to go see it in theaters because I want that experience, but otherwise I could watch it in that format and be fine, and I understand that for a lot of people, it's kind of slow. And I see that Forth says here he couldn't finish it. It's slow, just not for him. And the thing with that is really what it boils down to is the pacing is slow because it's part of a larger story. It's whether it's going to be Dune Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, we don't quite know. They originally said it was going to be 2 parts, like the It adaptation. There's no definitive green light on it right now. Never mind, that is probably going to happen. And so you're kind of getting your balls thwapped a little bit by watching this thing.
True, but like it is a good point to make. Like, a film is a film. It's not like a limited series or something like that. A film, whether it be a 2-parter, should still like stand up on its own as its own film, like a part 1. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Still have like a satisfying conclusion that leaves you wanting more. But
this left me wanting more. It really did. Like, okay, I mean, it gets to the end of the movie, and like there's a couple times where I felt they could have ended it before where they did. There's a couple areas where I thought they could have maybe tightened the pacing a little bit, but at the same time, like, so I coming off a Squid Game. And the way Korean dramas play out, or Korean dramas are very much not like our dramas, where they allow the characters to breathe. They allow the characters to exist. It's very different. The pacing for Squid Game is incredibly slow at times, but the payoff is there. And I was like watching it last night. I'm like, okay, it's a little slow. It's, whatever. But I found that to be somewhat refreshing. I just allowed myself to to just kind of like be absorbed by what I was watching. I allowed myself to not distractions. I turned my phone off, and I just allowed myself to enjoy the experience of watching the movie. And I think that's what the director was going for. I think if you go into this wanting hardcore science fiction action, you're going to be disappointed. There's a couple action scenes in the movie, but it's also not. There's moments where you're like, oh, this could be an action scene, but there isn't one.
Everything I've been told is that it's like a movie for people who really like science fiction,
it's not a space opera, right? That's what Star Wars is. Star Wars is a space opera. This one is very much it's science fiction. And it's also kind of like, I was explaining it to my girlfriend today, because she was like, I'm trying to think, how would I explain this movie to people, right? And I'm all like, it's Game of Thrones, effectively, except like what you have is House Atreides, and they are basically like the Starks, and then you've got House Harkonnen. I really will say though, I hate the way that they pronounce they call it Harkonnen in this one, and I feel like I always grew up calling it House Harkonnen, and so when they say Harkonnen, I'm just like, I don't like the pronunciation of it.
Oh no, my childhood's been shattered.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, House Harkonnen, and then like House Harkonnen. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You fucking say that shit right.
No, and then maybe repeat the line over again.
So yeah, do it right in ADR. Hopefully, like, I thought that was kind of funny. But other than that, like, The movie, it is bleak. You know what I mean? Like, and well, sorry, go back to what I said. So you have House Harkonnen, and they're like the Lannisters, essentially. And that's kind of like, and then I'm like, you know, like you have to look at it like Arrakis is like King's Landing, kind of. I mean, it's a very vague comparison. It's not even the most apt, but I think to describe it to normies who may not understand what it is, you know, because if you're like, let me explain to you the plot of Dune. So what you have is you have the Imperium that is run by the Emperor, and the Emperor has control over the planet Arrakis. Arrakis has the spice. The spice allows for interdimensional travel, interspace travel, whatever. And that is the most valuable asset in the entire galaxy. In the entire known universe is the spice. And at the time, at the beginning of the story, House Harkonnen controls it. They've controlled it for 80 years. They've made tens of billions of solari, so dollars, as a result of being able to like siphon off the top and through corrupt political means. Then the Emperor comes in, says, hey, get the fuck out, calls in Duke Leto from House Atreides. House Atreides answers the call, goes to Arrakis, shit goes fucking down. It's all political. It's like, and again, like that, you know, it's like explaining it like that is one of those things where I think, you know, again, using the Game of Thrones method is probably for the best. It's like when we talk about Uncharted. It's like, oh no, it's like Indiana Jones Jr.
Oh, jeez.
Right? No, I mean, but isn't that kind of, you know, Laura Croft is like a female Indiana Jones. I mean, how many times has that comparison been made? A lot.
You're right. You're right.
Right? Like it's kind of like that.
You're right though, because like people like make really like base level like comparisons like that and act like they're geniuses. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, no, I'm not trying to make I mean, I'm definitely not a genius. But
I'm not saying that, but you know, I'm just making the point. Other people do that, and like,
well, okay, so I will give you a prime fucking example of how dumb some people are. Okay, so when I worked at the drive-in, we always had double features, and I shit you not, like for like the vast majority of the time, everyone can figure out what the double feature was, right? Like, let's say we had, I think back in the day, we had Training Day with like 13 Ghosts. Okay. Like that was a combo I remember. And that was from like 20 years ago. So my first year working there. But anyway, I'm using this just as an example. So people would come on in, and for some reason there was this period of time where we got this question a lot, and people would come in and they're like, what movie is with? And we would be like, I'm sorry, what? They'd say this at the box office. They go, well, you're showing the Training Day with 13 Ghosts. What movie is with? And I'm like, wait, you think With is a movie? Yeah. What movie is it? What's it about? Right?
Oh, jeez.
Right? Dumb. I'm not even making this up. This happened repeatedly for like a month one summer. It was so weird. We were all like, where is this coming from? Why is this happening? So
maybe it was like a prank.
It was multiple people. It was multiple people would do this. I
don't know.
I don't know. So what we would do is we would just start fucking with people. So I'm like, oh, it's the new Tom Cruise movie.
Wait, really?
That's crazy. I would say this. I would legitimately say this to people. I'd say, yeah, no, it's the new Tom Cruise movie. And like, wait, what? Yeah, you haven't heard of it? Oh my God. So Tom Cruise, in this case, is a former FBI agent who is currently trying to track down a nuclear bomb that is somewhere inside, like, you know, the Louvre. I'd make up some random shit, right? And then I'd be like, but what the whole thing is, he's running out of time and he has to team up with an art expert who's going to be able to figure out where the bomb is inside the Louvre. That's why it's called With. And they're like, oh, cool, thanks. And they'd go, we want to see that. And they'd go on in. I'm not even making that up. Like, we would sit there and just go, it's the new Tom Hanks movie. It's the new this movie. It's the new this. We would legitimately just start coming up with like terrible film concepts, and people would be okay with it.
Check out With.
It's like, sure. My personal favorite though, 2002. We had a line out to the street. We're talking 4 cars out to the street, a mile in each direction. It's like 1,000 cars coming in that night. We're slammed to the brim. I'm at the box. I'm trying to get cars in as fast as I can. Some lady stops me dead in my tracks by just asking, what is Spider-Man about? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, you guys are showing Spider-Man. what movie is Spider-Man about? And I'm like, are you fucking serious? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what it is. And I'm like, this was 2002. So, I mean, some people could be relatively excused, I think, right? Of not knowing. But it's like in that moment, my brain kind of broke a little bit. Because how do I explain the concept of Spider-Man to this woman who is asking me who this character is and what this movie is about? That I'm not even making that. Music went and asked me if I'm kidding here. I'm not kidding. This legitimately happened. When you work with the general public, right? When you work with the general public in regards to movies, not everyone is going to be as involved or as knowledgeable as you. And sometimes it makes perfect sense. There are other times where you just have to stop and go, huh? Like, have you literally been living under a rock? Have you been in a coma? What is happening?
Matt, I bet you think back to that moment every time that DC and Marvel talk about doing the multiverse, and you're just like, yeah, that'll go over well with someone like that.
Yes. So when I talk about why I'm not a fan of it, when I talk about how the normies are not going to understand it, that is what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, look, I'll be fair in my commentary with that. This is like, we're talking, this is nearly 20 years ago that I was having these kind of conversations with people. We've evolved since then, right? The superhero comic book movie landscape has rapidly expanded, become the most dominant pop culture event in the world for the last like 10, 15 years. That's where it's been. Okay, cool. So you would expect most people to have a solid understanding of this. The downside to it is that, yeah, you are going to have people out there who don't engage in all of this. And I say this because how many times have like certain movies you would think a huge fan base would turn out for because it speaks to that type of genre or whatever, like let's say Pacific Rim, and they just don't show up. No matter how many times you beg people to go and see the movie, they just don't show up. That's what I'm talking about. It's because the average person has to care. To some extent, they have to be intrigued. And it might be also one of the reasons why movies have just gotten progressively stupider over the years.
That's very true.
I mean, have you ever seen that clip from Taken 3 where he jumped over the fence?
No.
Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see if I can find this, because this is a 7-second clip, right? Or it's like a 6-second clip. And I want you to look to see how many cuts are in this scene, right? How many cuts are in this? We don't need the sound on because it's kind of, you don't need it. But this is what I'm talking about when we talk about editing and how bad certain things have gotten. So have you seen Taken 3?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's not the best one. I would stop after number 2. But anyway, number 3 exists. So this is him and he's chasing somebody and he has to jump over a fence. Okay, very simple stuff.
All right.
So it's just, it's Liam Neeson jumping over a fence. Just watch this scene play out. See, he's running. Look at that. Do you see how many edits there are?
Oh yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I think I've showed it before too.
So why are there 18 different camera angles, like cuts?
It has everything to do with, like, they were just trying to make it more action packed. How do you make it more action packed to have an old 65-year-old man jump a fence?
You're kidding me. That wasn't intentional.
That was basically about it, in my opinion. It was meant to be an intense scene. He's running, he's changing, he's going after him.
Wait, you're telling me that was intentional? They did that on purpose? They didn't just fuck up?
Yeah, there's a reason why. I mean, otherwise you could just have a shot of him jumping over a fence, but when you treat it like Michael Bay directing a movie, which is kind of what they were going for there, because Michael Bay would have very similar amounts of edits on that.
You know what would have looked better? A single shot.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been better. It would have been better. But people are kind of dumb.
Yeah.
People are kind of dumb. Speaking of people who are kind of dumb, but not exactly this person, H Bars with $5. I'm not talking about you, but he says here, Sunset versus Defoe. Now, I don't quite know. Like, I know he's referring to the Eternals and everything. I just don't know necessarily versus Defoe what that's gonna entirely mean. But anyway,
it's gonna happen in the MCU.
We're gonna get Green Goblin's gonna show up, and it's just gonna be like, wow, that's the sunset.
and then he's gonna bop Peter on the head and be like, "Hey."
And then they're gonna do a quick cut to Kevin Feige sitting there like an Alfred Hitchcock cameo, and it'll be like, "Told you."
Yeah, exactly.
See that Disney Studios? Don't you know that we need sunsets? Gailey Productions here with $2 says, "Sup gang, hope everyone's having a good night." Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by. Gailey here was telling me earlier that he thinks he knows when there's going to be an announcement for Dune 2. I won't say when that is, because I don't know if that was told to me in private, I guess. I don't quite know. And then the AMBW channel here saying Jarbo the Musical 2022.
Jarbo the Musical.
I can't sing that well. I mean, I'd like to.
We'll just get someone else to play you.
Sure, yeah. Someone with like a very baritone voice, like just because I have a deep-ish voice. So, I think that'd be pretty solid, right? That would be pretty good, pretty grand. But anyway, I would recommend, just as before we dive into everything else here, I would fully recommend, if you have the opportunity to check out Dune, go check out Dune. This is a good movie. It's worth your time. In fact, actually, according to Discussing Film here, right now, the sequel, Dune 2, is currently up to Legendary to decide if they want to greenlight the movie. And Variety says an announcement could come shortly. The thing is, and this is where people are forgetting, like, how the studio, like, the announcement breakdowns are. Like, Legendary is the one that's doing the movie. Warner Brothers will co-finance, and Warner Brothers will do the distribution. Like, that's how it works, right? So obviously, Legendary is gonna greenlight it, because I mean, shit, dude. If Godzilla versus Kong can could lead to an expansion of the MonsterVerse. And it's not that Godzilla versus Kong was bad, but that movie was nowhere near as good as the previous two that came before it. So
yeah, but that. With the MonsterVerse, at least at the UK, you didn't have Godzilla has name recognition. I mean, so does Dune, but on top of that, you were adding King Kong. And then other Universal monsters, they're not Universal monsters, but other fucking monsters. I mean, and kaiju's that they have name recognition. I don't know if Dune is that well known. It's kind of like
Dune is something your parents would know.
Yeah, but
that makes sense.
Okay, well, this film really has to capture it within a new generation of people. If that's gonna.
Well, that's why Timothée Chalamet is in it, because I mean, I've literally seen footage of him from the red carpet where his fans are asking him to sign a peach. So, okay. Here's, I hate that I know this, but I know this. In the movie, Call Me By Your Name, I think this is what it's called. It's that Italian film where he plays a teenager that has a love affair with a much older man played by Armie Hammer, right? And they end up, at one point in the movie, I guess he ejaculates into a peach. He's just fucking a peach for some reason. I don't know. And then Armie Hammer comes in and eats the peach.
Oh my God.
So it's an Italian movie. It's I don't know if it's whatever, but I've never a Geeks here is wait, what? I'm I'm not kidding you, man. You gotta go go on YouTube and look up Call Me By Your Name peach scene.
Matt, I'm glad that we fought World War II.
I don't know, man. We might have given Italians a little bit too much leeway on that one,
Oh yeah, that's possible.
You know what? Hey, you fuckers had Mussolini. You know what? You gotta pay. All right, no freedom for you. No, I'm kidding. I haven't seen the movie, but no, Out of Princess, I figured I would know about it. What it was is when the Dune trailer dropped, and I talked about the Dune trailer, I had said more or less, I'm not a huge fan of Timothée Chalamet. I've never really seen him act, and he doesn't come across as anything too particular. And here's the thing, he's okay as Paul Atreides, but again, nothing about it. No actor in the movie really stood out to me outside of Rebecca Ferguson. But then again, I got a real weird, kind of MILF vibe out of her and her son. Real weird. She was super into her kid. You know what I mean? a little bit odd at times. A little that energy was a bit Pornhubby for me. But I mean, I know that's not the case. I understand why she is, but like it comes across as real fucking clingy. And so anyway, so I was looking up Timothée Chalamet, and someone's like, "You should look up Call Me by Your Name." Like, all right, I'll go and I'll watch the trailer for it. And then I ended up coming across somehow the YouTube search engine was like, "Oh, here's the peach scene or the peach scene controversy," and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I ended up looking into it a little bit, and I'm just like, "Okay, this is going a bit too far, even for me." Let's see here. Jacob asks, how about Timothée Chalamet as Harry Styles for the MCU? I don't know. I mean, I know what you're talking about in regards to like the Harry Styles thing, but I don't know the connection. Simon here saying, "Peach, I can eat a peach for hours." Do you know that line? Do you know where that's from?
No, where's that from?
Face Off, 1997. Fucking it's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I know the premise of the movie.
It's when he was Castor Troy, but it's when he was the bad guy, and he's all like, "Peach, I can eat a peach for hours," and you're just like, and I was like 15. I got someone to buy my tickets in to see that movie because I wasn't old enough to go watch it yet. My friend and I are watching it. I'm all like, "Is he talking about eating pussy?" Like, just right in the theater, like. I think he is, but then like I was 15 and whatever, and I think I'm like, what do they do with the nectar, or what do they do with the pit, right? Like, how does that work? Like, where does the pit go when you're on the plane? Like, do you throw it away? I don't see any napkins there. Like, I'm way too analytical at times for this kind of stuff. Anyway, I know it's a weird. Anyway, you got to see all that. Yes, Donovan. Rebecca was MVP and Jason Momoa was badass. Yeah, I really, really, really like Jason Momoa in that movie. Really, really, really love. I love Jason Momoa in general here, but I don't want to get too far away from this one. Fourth here with $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, do you want to see worse than Taken 3? YouTube search Doomsday sword fight scene. Holy hell, play. I'll check it. We'll watch it at the end here. But I've seen Doomsday. I saw it in theaters when it came out. Rona Mitra, Neil Marshall. You're talking about the sword fight scene at the fucking Camelot. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And that movie is crazy, by the way. If you haven't seen Doomsday, I highly recommend it. It's nuts. Have you ever heard of that one?
I've heard of that movie before. I don't know much.
Yeah, it's hold on. You know what? We'll just play.
You're pulling up a trailer, aren't you?
Yes, fight scene. Is this the fight scene? Yes, it's the fight scene. All right, I'll just bring it up. This is why I love Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall also, by the way, is the guy who directed 2019's Hellboy movie, which I actually enjoyed Hellboy quite a bit. Hold on, let me just get
I feel like people give that movie a lot of shit just because it wasn't what they wanted.
They do, and I think it's unfair. And I thought it was actually quite a bit of fun for what it was. All right, let's we'll just check this out. So the premise for this right here is she is currently so there's a virus that is like destroyed Ireland, and they evacuated the country, and they put everyone they got everyone out. Oh, I didn't even bring it up yet. Sorry, I thought it was on the screen. So they bring everyone, they evacuate everyone from the country, they seal it off. She has to go in there, and she ends up like it's kind of like a dystopian apocalyptic world by the border. And then the further into the countryside they find basically a medieval society that took over a castle and turned it into more or less like Knights of the Round Table and shit. And so here is a gladiatorial scene where she's got to fight a knight, and that's basically the setup.
Okay.
So Malcolm McDowell's in it, Rona Mitra. Hold on, let me. Malcolm McDowell. By the way, that actress was the original model for Lara Croft. Yeah, are you not entertained?
So that's Lara Croft, huh?
Wait, he says it's the wrong clip. Rona fights the other lady warrior.
The lady
Hold on.
warrior.
The Lady Warrior.
Rona. That's an unfortunate.
Yeah, her name is Rona Mitra.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be named that, honestly.
Oh, okay, I found it. Oh, it's the chick. Yeah. Okay, I found it. All right, sorry. Well, you said fights in the. That was the scene. You know.
Hopefully, we can get like 7 extra pixels for this next one.
Find out you're lying.
Yeah, maybe. All right, come on.
Oh my god, look at all your fucking options. That's nuts.
Yeah, I have an extension. I
You're
don't know what the hell's going on.
I'd left you here.
It allows me like options here. I can take screenshots and stuff. It's really great.
Oh, okay.
And I can get them in like full 1080p too, so it's nice.
There we go. Full
All right, so it's only a minute long. This should be at 240p. Right.
Yeah, it was.
Let's see. Is this the movie with the crazy car chase? Right, that has Bob Hoskins in it.
Bob?
I don't remember if Bob Hoskins is in it. I think so, but it does have a pretty crazy car chase scene. All right, get ready for the cuts. Yeah, watch how this thing is edited together.
Oh God, I hate
this. Is like, yeah, it gets pretty bad.
I hate
Find out
that.
you're lying.
Unnecessary. Unnecessary.
Follow me and you keep your bloody voice down.
God.
Look out!
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't see what the fuck's going on when people do this shit. This gives me a fucking headache.
Yeah, I don't know why they cut it like this.
Alright, this is like a joke fan edit, right?
No, this is real. This is in the movie.
Oh my god, it really is hurting my eyes to look at this.
Yeah.
You know, if my eyes could puke, I think they would. You know what the worst part about this is? The real fucking footage is out there somewhere not cut like this.
Yeah, but at least it ended cool. With that chick getting her hand cut off and then getting decapitated. Like, that was pretty cool.
No, it wasn't, because I could barely fucking see it.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. It's cooler. It's cooler in the movie because she ends up, like, throwing it at that chick's boyfriend.
The more cuts you add, the less, like, I can get engrossed in the film, the less I can feel, like, immersed in, like, what the movie's showing me. I feel way more immersed if there's less cuts like that. Like, look, changing up the camera angle here and there can be really fucking cool, obviously, but, like, they should have intention. When you shift to, like, a different camera angle or you do a different cut, it should have intention to it. It should signify something about the movie, not just, okay, well, audiences are so fucking stupid, and they'll just pay attention to their phones if we don't cut every 5 seconds. So we just have to constantly cut, so their eyes stay glued to the fucking screen. If you have so little faith in the rest of your film, like the story, like the characters, and the visuals in general, that you have to just do a bunch of fucking cuts, then maybe you shouldn't have made the film in the first place.
Well, there's a lot of issues with that. So for one, it could have been like the location of where they shot was a hallway. That's pretty condensed. So it's like, they can't, I mean, it's probably a set. They could have probably flown out a wall and been able to shoot around that kind of stuff. But remember those scenes, like, remember the opening scene of Kill Bill?
Yeah.
That fight scene took 5 days to film. Because of the choreography. Yeah. So it's like it was a lower budget movie. I don't know.
No, I guess sometimes you have to make cuts. Sometimes you fuck up a scene, sometimes like midway and you just have to make a fucking cut.
There was Doomsday came out in 2007. There was a lot of films around that time that were very much doing the same thing. Like, for example, Alien versus Predator from 2004.
Okay, that's no excuse because like a movie, like part of what.
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying like it was a trend around the time.
It's terrible. Like, I don't understand how a single fucking person... It hurt my eyes to look at it. And I'm someone who's watched movies in 60 FPS before. I can do that.
Yeah, I don't understand why you torture yourself with that. Like, literally. I mean, that to me is so weird.
What's weird about it?
That you're like, I like watching movies in 60 frames a second. Like, bitch, you need a fucking video game?
No, it looks... You know what? It's interesting to get a different fucking perspective. And
it's not No. Hold on. It's not a different perspective. That is an altered perspective and not a good kind, because in average, the movie is shot in 24 frames a second. Watching in anything but 24 frames a second is altering your perception of what the film is. So it's like if you, okay. So it's kind of like if you want to watch something in a higher refresh rate right? Or you want to watch it at higher FPS, generally like sports is where you'd want to do that because sports is high intensity, high action, high movement, fast movement. So you got to compensate. But when you're watching a movie that is shot on film at 35 millimeter stock, footage that is 24 frames a second, increasing that does nothing for the experience. It gives you this such a weird, like altered perspective. I can't, that kind of shit physically makes me ill.
For some reason, I like it, and so what I just saw made me sick. So I guess everyone's fucking.
Well, no. That kind of editing style is not good either. Like,
okay, yeah, no.
It could have been also, again, maybe a number of reasons, lower budget movie. I don't quite know. But that is pretty bad there. H Bart's here says Jackie Chan's Drunken Master 2 fight scene, the fight scene at the end of the movie, which we have watched here before, took 6 months to do. Yeah, because like. And that's the thing with this whole situation with the Alec Baldwin shooting, how these action films take a lot of time to do, a lot of choreography, a lot of rehearsal, making sure no one gets hurt, making sure people walk away just fine, and that it looks realistic enough on screen. So there's definitely a lot that goes into these sort of things. But when it comes to video games, though, obviously 60 frames a second is perfectly fine because most things are other than that aimed at 30. When you're watching a movie on home video, oftentimes that does get, like, if you're watching it on television, they usually crank it to 30. It's pretty bad.
24 FPS thing for movies is just confusing to me.
How? That's what they film it in.
I know.
That's what the 35 millimeters, 24 frames a second. That's how you get a cinematic quality.
It just seems so unconventional.
Oh my God, you're such a zoomer. Like that's such a zoomer mindset.
Like to other entertainment mediums, I'm used to playing video games.
You're just like, I'm watching fucking Dune on my phone. They cranked it to 60 FPS.
60 FPS.
No. Not in a million zillion fucking years. Not in a million zillion fucking years.
Fine, whatever. I'm not trying to make an argument that
out of print here says Alec Baldwin shot someone. Yeah, it happened last week. It was accidental. On a film set out in New Mexico. The cinematographer was shot and died. Yeah, he was given a hot weapon. He was told it was cold, and apparently he was practicing drawing the gun when it went off. So that's what happened with that one. McLeod here. I have seen your post, dude. You don't need to repost it so many times. But the story of Dune is from actually 1965 is when Frank Herbert had the story published. H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds was published in 1897. So there was about a 68-year difference between the two books. So roughly one whole generation, which I believe is about 70 years. So there you go on that one. H. Bart's here says, I think Alec is going to retire. I think so too. I think there's going to be a lot of movie sets that are going to end up being in a lot of California now is trying to ban live guns from all of its sets on the entire state of California.
Oh, anytime something like this happens, there's going to be like an attempt at political action. It's just going to happen. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, it's like, if you're not shooting at nighttime, the muzzle flash on the face doesn't really apply. If you go back and you watch, what was it? El Mariachi, Robert Rodriguez's first movie. What he did to simulate automatic gunfire was he got a gun and they fired it once. And then they just repeated that frame in order to make it look like, there was the gunfire. Like automatic, right? So, but they just had one frame.
CGI all that shit these days.
This was in 1993.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it's like 92, 93, somewhere back in there. So you weren't going to get that. You weren't going to get that back then for a movie made for $27,000 in Mexico.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
I didn't know when that was made. So
no, it was Robert Rodriguez's first movie. It's the film Desperado, the 95 Antonio Banderas Salma Hayek film, is kind of a remake of El Mariachi, although El Mariachi in and of itself is actually really good. But yeah, it's a thing with that where, like, the filmmakers will get creative on how they want to do that, but still you want to make sure that you have proper things on set. Let's see here. Tony asks, what do you think about those who say it's karma for him shitting on Trump? I think that's really fucked up.
People and I think when someone has a political ideology, though,
I think that's I think it's I think it's real messed up. I've seen
but is it really like surprising or out of the
ordinary? Not surprising at all. Not surprising at all. In fact, there was a YouTuber with like over 2 million subs that came out, and he made a video saying basically that he's done and he's tired of all the negativity, he's tired of all the hatred. And of course, the commentary community is all like, "Don't be a pussy, bro." And I'm like, a lot of these guys are like fucking in like their early 20s.
The commentary community
that don't have a lot of life experience, and like, so empathy is not something that's really in their wheelhouse. And they're just like, I fucking hate these kind of people. It's like, dude, you've got like, okay, like someone with like 5,000 subs who gets shit is nothing compared to a person with 2.5 million subs who gets shit. It's just incomparable.
That's
on that
a way bigger percentage of people.
It is. Now that doesn't mean that there's not going to end up being some, that people aren't going to be able to feel it, and there's not going to be psychological, emotional, and mental repercussions in that person's mind. But it's like, again, this stuff, as it goes on for years and years and years and years and years, that is where the problem comes from.
It's really difficult these days, I feel, for some people to put themselves in other people's shoes.
It really is. And that's where I told one of the guys tonight, I'm all like, I've seen your videos and you come across like a kid without any real life experience. Maybe one day you'll figure it out. Because like I said something, and he responded back by just going Mundane Matt. I'm like, ooh, using my old name. Ooh, that's a gotcha.
See, I have an exact fucking YouTuber in mind who I think probably is. You know what I mean?
But, yeah, nah, it was I don't want to say who it is, but
Wait, you're Mundane Matt? What the hell?
Yeah,
apparently.
Oh, wow. What a surprise. It was the person I knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always me.
No, it's Melons. Yeah, it's all. Damn it, fucking Melons.
Well, you changed your avatar now. I gotta change mine now. You back old school. What do we talk about? What happened? What I missed?
We're about ready to dive into the Dave Chappelle situation. We were just talking about Dune and movies with terrible edits and everything else. And then also some Alec Baldwin conversation and everything. So it's been fine. But all right, even though I have not timestamped anything yet for the beginning of the episode, so that's my bad, guys. But if you're watching this on the VOD, at least now we have a timestamp. So Dave Chappelle has come out swinging, gauntlet thrown about how to deal with this situation and how to have a conversation and a discussion with the trans community. But he says here, according to this Variety title, he's not bending to anyone's demands. Of course not.
As he shouldn't. Why the F should he?
Well, what's really funny about, like, people are so pissed about this thing. So Dave Chappelle has spoken out about the controversy over his Netflix special, The Closer, in a new stand-up video, saying that he is willing to meet with the transgender Netflix employees or other members of the trans community, but won't bend to anyone's demands. In the video, Chappelle remained unapologetic about the special, which was accused of containing transphobic and homophobic remarks, and led to a walkout at Netflix, saying, "I said what I said." I mean, he ain't backing down. He's not backing down at all. Saying here, "It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees of Netflix, and I refused. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I'm confused about what we would be speaking about. I said what I said, and boy, I heard what you said. My God, how could I not? You said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. It seems like I'm the only one who can't go to the office anymore." He's just poking the bear. Chappelle claimed that the controversy was about corporate interests and that some members of the LGBTQ plus community have been supportive of him, which is true. I have seen them. Going on to say here, "I want everyone in this audience to know that even though the media frames it that it's me versus the community, that's not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say. For the record, I need you to know this. Everyone I know from that community has been loving and supporting, so I don't know what all this nonsense is about."
Wow, if only that was the headline, then maybe people would stop like taking what he says in
disagree with him.
Wrong context. What?
You disagree?
I disagree
with what he just said right now?
I disagree with that last part where he says that it's not the LGBTQ community. Like, it's like, don't blame them. It's like, no, I do blame them because I have seen a lot of the bull crap that he was talking about. And I know why he says don't blame them, but I'm gonna blame him. Because it's kind of dumb that it's gotten to this point. Like he said, like the
this
baby
would have happened with any community though online.
But that's what I mean. But the baby, he beats women. He talks about beating women. He has probably killed somebody. And he is still allowed to be famous and make money. But God forbid he makes a very ignorant comment about gay people. And it's really... So no, I have to disagree with Dave there. I definitely blame a lot of the LGBTQ community, the people who claim that they're there for equality and all this stuff. It's like, but where is it? It's only present when somebody offends somebody or the community, right?
But that's how people work. They react more to shit that relates to them personally.
Right. It's dumb though. It's like,
but you would get the exact same backlash if it was another group of people online, another community that was feeling attacked in this way. Yeah, you'd get a bunch of people who are a bunch of vocal assholes, like there is in any community or group of people, and you get them and they'd make everybody else look bad in that community.
No,
so if you want to call out those individuals, that's one thing, but to say that the whole community is shit and should just be thrown out is wrong.
The majority of the community, like I said, where was the protests outside of Netflix when everyone was pissed off about cuties? Oh, the Netflix employees stood by Netflix's decision not to pull cuties, but God forbid Dave Chappelle, who is a comedian, makes jokes. And all of a sudden, we are protesting. We are walking out of work. You guys, you have to give in to our demands. All of a sudden, now we're hearing about all these problems with the trans community within Netflix. Why weren't they talking about these problems before this happened? If there was such an issue with the issue of, the trans people aren't getting paid enough at Netflix, we want to raise. Why wasn't that the thing you said before a controversy like this happened?
This is exactly what I was talking to you about earlier, about workers' rights on your channel. You can have these individual issues and talk about them on an individual level. Just because there's something that's wrong and an inequality in life doesn't mean that it invalidates somebody else's just because it's not as bad. And you can still fight for one of these issues and fight for something else too. Look, yeah, some of these employees, yeah, they're fucking hypocrites. Sure, of course they are. They're human beings. But some of them are probably fucking standing up for what they believe in. I don't think that they're necessarily hypocritical.
So, okay, I get the point both of you guys are trying to make. I think what it boils down to, again, is that I think Dave has seen there being kind of a removal of the prominence of rights for African Americans in regards to the national conversation, and seeing a far more what appears to be organized community of trans activists coming in and getting the spotlight.
And he's already admitted, he puts the blame on his own community for not being able to organize. So, I don't see, so that's not even, I don't even get the question. You know what else I'm skeptical of? I hope that there actually is, a conversation that comes out of this. An open-minded conversation, because those are so rare these days. And the fact that he's actually willing to actually engage in one is really, a good sign. But hopefully there's somebody else in the actual company who partook in that protest who's actually willing to sit down and have a conversation with him. But you know what I'm worried about is that it's just going to be a terrible representation for LGBT people. That's what I'm worried.
Well, I mean, look at Vito and Dick Masterson going out to that protest the other day, and all they had were the signs that just said jokes are funny and we like Dave. Yeah, they were there to shit stir. And while they'll maybe try to deny it, I know Vito well enough and I know Dick well enough to know exactly what they were there for, because they've done nothing but promoting their podcast otherwise. And they, but they proved they were able to sit there, and people attacked them, and they broke their signs. In the case of Dick, he got a weapon. Yeah, he's got a weapon, and they tried getting him removed after they broke his sign by claiming he had a stick and it was a weapon, and all of the things. And then the media did come on and they said that Vito was shouting profanities and obscenities at the crowd, which he wasn't. And it's so again, a lot of this boils down to the way that the media manipulation handles these particular issues. And I think that when it comes to this is a lot of what Dave is trying to say. But let's go on, because there's more about this particular story here. So this is where Dave is being canceled a little bit here. Nothing that I would call career ending or whatever.
He still has a career, so his career's not over.
Well, and that's what I talk about classism in regards to cancel culture as well. A lot of people who like to argue, the blue check marks on Twitter. Cancel culture doesn't exist. It's like your blue check mark talking about other blue check marks or other notable, famous people that have money and that have the ability to live if something like this happens. And I always like to bring up the Justine Sacco situation, which is where she made an uncouth joke while boarding a flight at Heathrow Airport in London, going to South Africa, going to Johannesburg. That tweet went viral. Gawker started tracking it. And in the time it took her to fly from London to South Africa, her entire world had been turned upside down. She was fired mid-flight, didn't know it till she landed. And everyone was watching where she was and tracking her cancellation in real time. And they got off on it.
That was kind of funny, though.
Not really.
I thought that was funny.
Not really, because, look, what she said was stupid. I don't stand by what she said at all, but the reaction to what she said and how people mobilized around canceling her and getting off on it, being gleeful over it, over the span of like 8 hours.
It's really weird to see that stuff.
No, it wasn't that. No, I'm not saying the cancellation was funny. I'm saying the fact that like she got on a plane. Yeah, calm down, people. You guys like jump on me when I say things without me explaining. Listen,
okay,
it was funny from the perspective of the chick got on a plane. By the time she landed, within those time, and that's what I'm saying. It was funny because of how quick it was, and that's why I was like, damn. Can you imagine? 1 minute you're on a flight thinking like everything's all good. Next you get off the flight, like what happened? That's why I thought it was funny. I don't think that
they created a website called whereisjustine.com and it was tracking her flight in real time.
That's why I thought it was funny. They went all extra with it.
They did. And this is Gawker. So, this is like also like peak shithole Gawker.
See, I can see how you would look at that and maybe think it's funny, but like upon further examination, I look at something like that and I'm like, this is disturbing that people will go to such lengths just because they don't like someone on the flip of a fucking hat and do all these crazy things.
I'm numb to it now. That's the problem.
That's a bad thing about the internet. Right.
It is. Because it makes you numb to this stuff because it's like, every day you get on the internet, your first thing I think in my head is like, especially as a YouTuber, it's like, okay, who got canceled today? Which celebrity or which person did something stupid and they got canceled today? That's literally
the internet has led to like a massive lack of fucking empathy. And like you and I, we like each other, but it's because we know each other and we've got to know each other. It takes people time these days. It's not like people don't have basic empathy. Largely, so a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't have that basic empathy for just regular people.
Rational Skeptic here brings up a very interesting case, the Allison Rapp situation. Are you guys familiar with this one?
Allison Rapp.
Allison Rapp worked for Nintendo. She worked for the Nintendo Treehouse, I think, as a community manager. And Allison had come out and like written it's supposed to be for her thesis, I think, or she'd written a paper more or less arguing in favor of like Lolicon and Shota as a defense against Western imperialism in Japan. It's a hot take. It's an absolutely hot take. It's weird. I get what she was arguing for, but her avenue for arguing it, I thought was like, girl, you could have done a better job. But the thing is, though, she also was anti-Gamergate and very SJW. And so at the time, that put a bit of a target on her back because people were like, wait a minute, you're out here defending, child pornography and everything else. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I could be mistaken. My memory might be a bit fuzzy on it. But again, Lolly and Shota was what she was effectively defending, and that is protected by the Supreme Court. I don't know why, but whatever. And the thing is, though, people dug into her, and they found out that she was an escort on the side. Both her and her husband were both escorts.
That's the only non-offensive thing about her so far.
Yeah, well, she also had lewd photos. She also had lewd photos of her holding, I think it was a Nintendo 3DS.
What?
And because she had like Pokemon tats, which is how people were able to identify her.
Oh my god!
And so
Matt.
I'm not even making this up. She was actually fired from Nintendo, as far as I understand, because she was in those lewd photos. And I think she was like selling the lewd photos. Like a Patreon sort of thing. And it was like, but because she had Nintendo products and she was like working for the company, they viewed it as her representing the company. And she ended up getting fired. And I don't know where she's been since. I don't remember that at all. But a lot of people went after her and they wanted to cancel her for her having an opinion. And but then again, the people that are like probably would be supportive of Dave Chappelle right now were very much pro canceling Allison Rapp because they didn't agree with her political takes.
Okay, well that's a lot more fucking spicy than anything Dave Chappelle said.
Well, when it comes to Lolly, a lot of people are not. If it comes off as you're defending Lolly, a lot of people are just like
Matt. Like
no.
that's undeniably a lot.
No, dude, I'm not defending it. I am not defending it.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying. When it comes to
like
Lolly,
when she was talking. Her point was ultimately about Western imperialism and its impact on Japan. That was her overall point. Why she chose that argument to stake her claim on and to die on that hill, I got no fucking idea. But that's what she did. And people went for her. People went for her real hard. She had a target on her back and they wanted to cancel her one way or another. And they ultimately, but then again, she wasn't fired for what she said. I think Nintendo actually kind of was defending her ability to have free speech on that one. But it was when it came out that she had done lewd photos holding a Nintendo product and her being a representative of the company.
That's definitely the thing the company's going to look at and be like, hey,
that's what the company yeeted her over. So that's kind of what she was saying. Now, McCloudry does make an interesting point. Says Chappelle still comes off as someone who is lashing out at the trans movement because they have pushed the needle forward more than his community ever had, rather than giving his own community grief.
I agree, but he admits that, so I don't feel a reason to really take the piss out of him too much for that, because he admits that's kind of. I don't entirely believe that's true either, though. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of like a bunch of really shitty circumstances which have led to some groups of people not being able to seek the same amount of fucking social justice or whatever you want to call it.
Mr. Chang.
I don't like that term personally, but whatever.
No, first of all, Mr. Chang, let me just correct you. Number one, Catholic, not Christian. Number one, you're preaching about Bible quotes, and I won't get too deep into it because I was raised Baptist, pretty much Christian. Okay, and the Bible, if you want to really get to the nitty gritty, it has a lot of interesting contradictions in it, in my opinion. And on top of that, the Bible is more interpretive, subjective for most people. It depends on what you're reading, and the message might be clear to some, but different for others. And again, I'm watching you in the chat talking about our country. Every country has their own slew of problems. Just because maybe your country might not have similar problems to us doesn't mean that we're not looking at your country like, you guys have some issues too. So just throwing that out there. Every country has their own share of issues, whether it's political or entertainment crap. Let's just not open that can of worms.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to say though, I agree with Danny here, that it does come across like playing Oppression Olympics. And that's kind of what we're seeing as a response to this.
Is there gold medals for that?
No, but potentially Netflix specials.
Queen Danny, I want to know if there are medals because I think I want to go for the gold.
Sorry, I was getting some water. But no, that's actually a really good point, and that's part of what leads to, like I was saying earlier, a lack of human empathy, because people get very tribalistic. They can only relate to people, or feel bad for people, I should say, who are directly related to them, who are black or trans or whatever, share these traits, these surface level traits. They don't care about getting to know people personally. They just care about these surface level traits. And that's how tribalism gets people to stop caring about people who are different. It's bad. Internet made it worse too.
Well, check this out though. So there's a quote here from Dave where he says, "This film that I made was invited to every film festival in the United States, and some of those invitations I accepted. When this controversy came out about Closer, they began disinviting me from these festivals. And now today, not a film company, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos and Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet." Now, that, of course, is putting the ball right back in Ted Sarandos' court, and putting that spotlight on him. He's almost like he's challenging Ted Sarandos to pull the plug on Chappelle. It does feel that way. But, you know, I mean, look, this is what happens when these situations blow up. These companies, they don't necessarily, you know, they don't always want to work with people. And they get scared, you know, because they don't want the negative backlash. Give it 6 months and none of it will matter, you know, really. But Chappelle, you know, he did go on to say here that he is willing to meet with members of the trans community. He jokingly listed off a slew of conditions, such as, or here's what he says. He says, to the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I'm not bending to anyone's demand. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You must come to a place of my choosing at a time of my choosing. And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny. And I'm like, because Hannah Gadsby had come out and like criticized Chappelle, right?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. So we will watch the trailer for Nanette. Hannah Gadsby is one of the least funny comedians I have ever
funny comedian, huh?
ever seen. It is she is, my God, this is the kind of humor that makes you really just go, okay, like maybe Australia would be better off under European rule again. You know, it's just like it's bad. It's not funny. And I was making a terrible joke. I love Australia. All right, here's the trailer for Nanette.
Oh yeah, joke, totally.
Make it hashtag make Australia a prison colony again.
Oh Jesus Christ! Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, all right. I think I'm already banned there anyway. So,
Not surprised.
All right.
I don't feel comfortable in a small town. I get a bit tense, mainly because I'm in this situation. And in a small town, that's all right from a distance. People are like, oh, good bloke. I love being mistaken for a man. I wouldn't want to be a straight white man, not if you paid me, although the pay would be substantially better. I do think I have to quit comedy, though. And it's probably not the forum to make such an announcement, is it? But I've built a career out of self-deprecating humour, and I simply will not do that anymore, not to myself or anybody who identifies with me. Do you understand what self-deprecation means? It's not humility, it's humiliation. I want my story heard, because what I would have done to have heard a story like mine.
That wasn't funny.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point, is like it's the anti-comedy. Let's see. I think it was
that wasn't
fourth
funny.
here says Hannah Gadsby cracked the anti-humor equation, which is true. It's just Hannah Gadsby is not funny, but Hannah Gadsby can tell a good story. See, there's the difference, though. Therein lies the difference.
That's a different skill, though.
It's a different skill. Dave can tell a story too. Dave has his punchlines. He has his setups. She's got a different way of going about it. I'm not saying that she's not talented in the ability to tell a story. I think she's just a wildly unfunny comedian. You know, it's
those are supposed to be like the highlights to show off her comedic timing and shit. Like it was just sounded like a motivational speaker, if anything. Like that wasn't comedy.
Right. The point of comedy is to laugh. And a lot of the times it was more like laughing at each other and enjoying ourselves and having fun. You know, anytime you go to a comedy show, everyone's laughing. No one's getting angry. It's meant to be, haha, that was a funny joke. Haha, look, we can laugh at each other and it's okay. That's basically what Dave Chappelle and all of the great comedians of the past. You know what's funny? We were talking about God, I can't even remember his name.
Well, Danny here makes an interesting point. Says it's not supposed to be funny, it's supposed to make you think. Sound familiar? Don't be hypocrites. You can make people think while still making them laugh.
Right. I like being told something but laughing at the same time.
I just made the point, like if someone could be like a motivational speaker, if you're a good speaker, you can tell good stories. It doesn't make you a comedian. Like
right. Like
yeah, is it a comedy show or is it a TEDx talk? That's my question.
Right, that's what Ford said. It's a TED talk.
Like,
you know?
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
comedy. It's not. If comedy means it's funny. If it's not supposed to be funny, you can't call it comedy.
Hannah Gadsby strikes me as a kind of comedian that people tell you that she's funny, and you're like, no, and they're like, no, you just don't get it. And then you're like, no, I've watched it. It's not funny. But then like you feel like, wait, hold on, am I the broken one? Because I don't find it funny.
Maybe people will find it funny just like by pity because they like what she has to say.
Well, I mean, she might get like one joke, like maybe a little chuckle, but it's like you're not gonna watch a movie that's supposed to be a comedy and sit there and have it preached to you and be like, okay, well, when's the punchline gonna come? Like, where's the joke? Like,
Saggy, have you ever seen like those try not to laugh challenges?
Yes.
I tweeted that. I tweeted that trailer like a try to laugh challenge. Basically.
You laugh, you lose.
Yeah. You laugh.
Oh no, those are some pretty funny threads on 4chan when they used to be good. When they first started, they used to be good. Now they're just terrible, but because it's all stale.
That rain is coming down. Can you hear that shit?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Okay.
No,
Saggy can.
Yeah, I can. We're in the same. Why would you ask like Matt? Matt don't live here.
No, but
that's right. Yeah.
It's pouring down rain out here in Washington as well. So we're both getting pissed on by God tonight. What can I say?
Yeah. All right.
But Jess here for $2 a minute. Thank you. Says, wait, is that the comedian who talked about the R word? I don't remember if that was the comedian who talked about the R word.
What up?
Speaking of R word, here comes RJ.
How's that supposed to mean?
That was funnier than the entire Nanette comedy special.
Yeah, it was.
Listen, if you guys want
What's
humor,
up, RJ?
see, but that's the thing. It's like I get, but how do you call yourself a comedian and not be funny? Listen. I'm gonna tell you all a joke. Ready? So the Civil War were bad, guys. It was bad.
That's a joke.
That's all I got. Is it was bad. Thank you. Good night.
Wow, bold, stunning, brave.
I thought you were gonna say that the joke here was you.
Oh wait, hold on. I mean, you could even go further with the cringe. Go, hey, you guys want to hear a joke? What is the WNBA?
It's gonna be something morally
you know
questionable.
you're wrong for that, right? You know
that's
you're
the
wrong
joke.
For that. Yeah, yeah.
No one knows the WNBA is.
For the record, that was funnier than what we just watched. So yeah, that was.
Well, I was reading a joke tonight on Reddit, and it's this guy goes up to an assassin and says, "Are you the assassin that charges $1,000 per bullet?" Assassin says, "Yes, I am." The guy says, "I have $2,000. I want you to kill my wife and her boyfriend by shooting her in the head and shooting him in the dick." And the assassin says, "Okay." And they travel to the boyfriend's house and they're waiting outside and they're watching. The assassin looks through the scope of his gun and he starts chuckling. And the guy says, What's funny? And the assassin says, well, if you wait about a minute, I can save you $1,000.
All right, enough dad jokes, Matt.
That was like friggin' chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yeah, I know.
That was wow. You didn't have to say that.
No. See, that's the thing though. Sometimes jokes work. Sometimes they don't. You know, sometimes like you'll think of something funny and it lands. Sometimes it don't. It's all workshopping. But like, you know, I'll tell you this. One of the best people who does this is actually Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is fantastic at telling you stories that actually will lead to a punchline. He actually spent time figuring out. I was at Comic-Con once for his Q&A panel, and he only answered one question. And other than that, it was about a 45-minute story. Mostly about how much Bruce Willis sucked. But, you know, that's like awesome. He was learning, like, because he workshops a lot of that stuff, like how to be a storyteller, how to engage the audience. When your entire comedy special is like, well, I don't want to be self-deprecating anymore because it's humiliation. Well, like, yeah, that's kind of the point. It's not humility, it is humiliation, but the idea there is to show that you can laugh at yourself. Right. Self-deprecation is about laughing at yourself.
Exactly. And Andrew, yes, I am pro-slavery. Didn't you realize RJ's my bitch?
Wow.
Whoa. Wait. What?
We're just fucking assaulting RJ when he hasn't even got much to say yet.
I'm used to when it's coming from her. She's left bruises.
Yeah. Which is really weird because she's like several thousand miles away from you. So you guys have a very odd relationship.
I'm an odd
Like,
relationship.
do you
with
put
everybody.
RJ? Do you put the sock, like the bar of soap, in the sock, and then just wait for her to command you to strike yourself with it? Is that how this works?
Bar of sock.
No,
He
she hired goons to come to my house and do
She
it for
hired
her.
you.
First of all, I've never hired anyone to do the
Goons.
fun parts, so no.
A couple of Team Rocket grunts show up to RJ's house, like.
Nah, it's just gonna be all. Look, given Saggy's furry mask, it's just gonna be somebody cosplaying as Meowth. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then RJ's gonna be like, finally losing my virginity.
You know what, Jarbo's just mad because when he saw me with the fox mask on, he questioned his sexuality.
Oh, jeez.
That's not that doesn't make me question my
I think
sexuality.
he questioned his sanity, not his sexuality.
Yeah, probably. Well, I'll tell you what makes me question my sexuality is Henry Cavill shirtless. I'll tell you that right now. Ooh. I'm like, damn, I'm straight, but man, beefcake.
The cavalcade.
You know what? I'm not. I ain't even mad at that one. That one's good. I ain't mad at it. He's right.
No, it'd be like, you know, I could just imagine like sitting there, like going like, just no, Henry, build me that PC again.
Queen Danny, you gotta, Queen Danny, I love you, but you gotta, no, that's not true at all. Like
Dave has no, what? No, he definitely does, but he also knows how to get people talking, which is kind of the whole point. That's the thing with
humility has no ass. No.
Right, like
there we go.
He's
Fourth with the hot take.
I did say no.
Wow.
How do you know we haven't already?
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Where was I when this happened? Wait a minute. Pause.
Joke.
No, I will say, yeah, your jokes aren't funny, just like that Gano Hadley person. But no.
Oh my God, saying.
Dave Chappelle he's a good dude. You know, like I said, he's taking care of his transgender friend's family. You know, he's done a lot for people he cares about. And again, he opened up a discussion, and now people are angry because, God forbid, anyone asks any questions. Like, have you ever unintentionally? Me and Anna were talking about this earlier. Have you ever unintentionally misgendered someone and watched them get super mad about it? Like, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna get mad at someone who unintentionally and not maliciously misgenders you, and you're gonna make a huge stink about it, then you're the problem. I'm sorry. You know?
Well, what was it? I was at McDonald's once, and I was picking up. Shush. Wow.
There's a good joke.
Go drink your boba tea. Anyway, no, I was picking up an order, and the person behind the counter or at the window, they went, "No, here's your order, ma'am." And I think just in my mind, I rapidly fired off that whole, "Oh, are you did you just assume my gender?" Right? I just said it super quick, like with a big smile on my face, right? And the person there, they went, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to misgender you. I'm so sorry." Like, they were legitimately upset. And I'm like, no, I'm kidding. I just rapid fire response. I'm sorry. And then they go, "Oh, well, I identify as asexual." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, cool." You know, like, that's fine. You know, I'm like, I'll joke about it, but I'm also going to do what I can to respect your pronouns or whatever you have, you know? And I think that's kind of where we need to find ourselves. Like, the people that are mad at Chappelle are ones that are trying to use it as a way to, like, again, further push their needle. But the thing is they're going up against someone who was almost unbullyable. And if you listen to the comedy special, he talks about how he turned down $50 million. He turned down $50 million from Comedy Central to not be the brunt of the joke, you know? And that is where he's coming from. Like, he probably wants things to be better, but I think he's just frustrated. And he says it and I think he could have handled it differently, to be fair. But
yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect. That's the thing. Like,
I was going to mention Rational Skeptic. That is a name I've not heard in a very long time, Mr. Steve Shives.
I am blocked by Steve Shives, but that's the thing.
I can answer that question from Shogun.
Where's the Steve Shives theme song?
To answer that question, Shogun, because he's clearly a bitch.
Oh, no, you know how it is sometimes where, like you say something without thinking about it, just a standard response. I think I've called I tend to just say you guys as pretty much a definer for everybody. And then no one who is a cishet has ever come at me and been like, I identify as a female.
No, you can't say that.
Some people say you can't say you guys anymore because apparently that's offensive.
Hey, you guys! I can say it all day long.
You know what, though, RJ? That's how you know someone's fucking stupid, though, if they think that. Because only really stupid fucking people don't think that guys is gender neutral. It is. Right. Go fuck yourself if you don't think it is.
I almost misgendered someone's child. And yeah.
Well, see, that's easy to do though. Like that's easy to do because a lot of kids, like, I'm sorry, if they look, it's hard to identify a child sometimes.
Well, no. So this is when I was working at GameStop, and this mother and their child came in, and they brought up a bunch of basketball sports games, and the child had very long, very beautiful hair, very pretty features, pretty eyes, and so I was shocked because I'm like, wow, you're into these kind of games? Because I'm thinking that they're a girl. Found out no, and then the mother was like, well, yeah, no, why wouldn't he be into those things? As soon as I saw he, I was just like, oh crap, I gotta save my butt here. And I'm just like, because the way the mom was a little annoyed, I think she knew I thought that her son was a girl, and I was like, oh no, I just wasn't sure. Most kids these days are playing Fortnite and shooters, but it's very rare to see a boy
Fortnite
playing. Right, I'm like, it's really rare to see boys buy sports games because they're not buying sports games because they're playing shooters. Dude, I was so glad I knew something. I was quick with it. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, yo, I really dodged that bullet of making that mom angry. About to call his daughter or her son a daughter. I was very scared. Like, yeah, kids these days usually play shooters. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, okay, so Danny here makes an interesting point. She says, we beat the Republicans. I'm sure we can handle Dave, not saying he needs to be canceled. But, so the difference here, though, is you have to ask yourself, are people upset because they are legitimately upset with what he said, or are they how many of them are just trying to get social clout? And that is something that is largely unidentifiable. It is you're not really going to be able to pinpoint it. But is it safe to assume that there are a fair amount of people out there that are trying to jump on the bandwagon of this in order to get clout one way or another?
Yes.
Oh yes, on every side of the issue, though, and we can't
on every side, because why Dave? So basically, what we're saying is Dave didn't. If you watch his comedy special, everything he said was just his opinion, right? Part of jokes, but his opinion. And it was like, oh my God, he said an opinion of how he felt, and he made jokes about it. And at the end of it, he was, he had a point, but it's still his opinion. So now he's not allowed to have free speech.
Well, again, a lot of it, I think what it is his opinion they don't like, but I think it's also a part to how Netflix responded to it. So there's a bunch of other issues here. It's like, people came out and complained, and then there was people who were suspended. And then the media ran with that with all the headlines, like trans employees suspended after criticizing Dave Chappelle special, which is a vastly misleading headline, almost erroneously so. And because those two things aren't even connected. And so then that transitioned into, well, now they're going to do a walkout. And then that transitioned into, oh, that person got fired who was leading the walkout charge because Netflix says that they shared proprietary data with the media, which somebody did. And they believe that it came from this person. And that person believed that they had the ability to share that proprietary data because they didn't know that they couldn't distribute it because they had sent it around in company before.
Gotcha.
And then they had, then they had their protest. They had their list of demands for what they wanted at the protest. At no point during this protest was pulling the special or canceling Dave Chappelle even remotely part of their list of demands.
Right.
But people made it out to be this anti-Dave Chappelle protest, which is why people like Vito and Dick showed up in order to be able to then play that angle, which there were people there specifically because of that, because the media had conflated things and because of all this other nonsense. I mean, all you got to do is just look at it from a whole and you'll start to realize how often the media is the biggest problem for all this shit.
No, oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah,
they destroyed the dialogue here. The media is what destroyed the dialogue unequivocally.
By the way, where's our clout? Where the hell is our clout? I keep hearing about clout. I want my clout. Who's cancellation?
It was behind your ear the whole time.
Whose cancellation do I need to take part in to get clout?
Jarbo's probably.
That's 3 years too late on that one there, guys. Sorry. Boat has sailed on that one. You can't play the Boulder card anymore.
I mean, I still
that's
can.
over with. No, not really.
Yeah, you kidding me? If I made an anti-Jarbo freaking stream.
God, but you've already done like 5 pro Jarbo streams.
Yeah,
so people just aren't going to believe you at this point. It's going to be crying Boulder.
What would happen is she would say that she performed gay ops on you, and then there you go.
Oh, well.
She's gonna be known as the
I'll
girl
be like,
who cried
listen.
rock.
I'll be like, listen, Jarbo likes ICP. Did you know that? It's bad. He's a
I
Jarbo.
infiltrated Hollywood after dark.
Yeah,
I went
yes.
undercover.
Yes.
Infiltrated's code word for something else, guys. By the way.
Okay. So Rational here is sending me Steve Shives comment here saying like, in addition, it says Hannah Gadsby is extremely funny. No, Steve.
Fuck Steve Shives.
Who's Steve Shives?
Steve Shives is a Star Trek YouTuber. He does commentary, but like he's a total left wing SJW type. Blocks anyone if you so much as like sneeze in his general direction. He'll block you on Twitter.
He's probably blocked millions of people.
No, he has block lists. Like he blocks people who follow people he doesn't like. I'm blocked by Steve Shives, and I've never said a thing to him.
Oh, I bet
Twitter.
I bet you I am too. What's his Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter.com. So I'm pretty sure it's just.
It's Steve_Shives.
Oh, it's Steve_Shives.
Yeah. But like I will say this though. When to give Steve credit, his commentary on Star Trek, it's actually you can tell he's a really big fan. And that comes through okay.
Who cares? It's Steve Shives.
Again, that's kind of the point.
Somehow I'm not blocked. I am not blocked.
Wait, you're not blocked by Steve Shives?
Nope.
Might be tonight though.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, somehow it's gonna find out like Jarbo's talking about you, Steve Shives. I don't care.
You guys are part of the fucking Jarbo verse.
He looks like a skinny version of Andy Signore.
And as annoying.
No, I'm
as annoying as Andy. But hey, I'll tell you this though, Steve Shives won't go out to try to find the gravesite of some suspected killer in Florida, I'll tell you that.
As far as you're not.
Oh, but
yeah.
Oh, he looks like a
Why don't you get proven wrong one of these days, Jarbo?
I'm proven wrong probably every day at least once. That's fine.
True.
That's fine. But we come here for the laughs, we come here for the lulz. But why don't we move on to there's a couple quick things I do want to talk about real quick that I had on the thumbnail, so I'm not misleading people to everything. Did you guys hear about this today? James Wan said the canceled Trench spinoff was actually going to be a secret Black Manta film.
Yeah, and I'm pissed about this, actually. I'm very sad to hear about this. My question to you, Jarbo, is why the hell would they not have announced this was a Black Manta movie in the first place first? Because that would have made people more excited and happy that this movie was getting made.
I don't know. Black Manta was one of my favorite things about Aquaman.
Honestly, I call bullshit.
Maybe they were trying to do it like that so they'd avoid people trying to leak stuff.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they announce this?
I don't know.
Well, because originally the Trench was pitched as like a horror movie, more like a James Wan movie than a blockbuster.
None of this makes any sense. None of this. So
why is it that it's only just now coming out? Oh, it's actually gonna be a Black Manta movie.
Because it's bullshit. Because this is fucking bullshit, clearly. Like, this is not... I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe this. I don't believe...
Why would he lie?
As far as I can throw him.
But why would he lie?
Why would he lie?
People lie, RJ. People
maybe
lie.
I think
Black Manta's return in the upcoming film. Maybe they'll think like scrap plot points.
Well, the story, from my understanding, was going to be about Black Manta tracking down a weapon to kill Aquaman. That would have tied into Aquaman 2.
Why he got some serious beastly looking abs, bro?
Because
that's his new suit.
This suit looks pretty good.
Manta,
yeah. I love Black. I really enjoyed Yahya Abdul-Mateen II in the movie. I can't wait to see this one. And this was like I learned about this morning, and I went like, oh, because I kept saying the Trench was a dumb idea. Like this Trench, but that's a stupid freaking idea. Wow.
It's like, damn it. Now I got
now that it's canceled. Well, no, even when it was canceled, I'm like, good, you guys cancel it because they canceled New Gods at the same time, and I didn't care for that idea either. But now that I see this, I'm like, oh, that would have been kind of cool.
Well, now they're going to announce that New Gods is actually going to be cool.
Yeah.
That's not true. Like, that wouldn't happen.
No.
You never know.
I got a question.
Yes.
What's the purpose of having suits have like abs like they're shirtless? I don't understand.
It's comic book. It's meant to convey muscles. Why do you put boob armor on women's armor in these movies?
So the boobs can fit comfortably in the friggin' chest plate.
Look at your profile picture. Look at Lady Thor.
Yeah, so that her breasts can fit comfortably in the chest plate. Duh.
It's not really practical though.
It's not practical though, like at all. It's just, hey, look at my titties. They're shiny.
Saggy, would you like boob armor?
And they're not saggy.
Yeah, I want boob armor. No, it protects the titties.
Why do you want
doesn't protect the titty?
It protects the titty.
It doesn't protect the titty.
It protects the titty. It makes the titty less protected. If you're gonna
it makes them comfortable.
The point being is that if it looks cool visually,
is it like a fucking sports bra? Is that what's on like?
All right. So, Sag, you know the equivalent to this would be? Imagine if there was like socks in your fucking shirts where you could put your boobs. What? Like that's the exact same fucking logic. Like, why would armor be form-fitting around fucking tits like that?
So the boobs are comfortable and not squished in a chest.
Well, okay, then why isn't that the case with fucking cloth shirts?
Because closed shirts are like form-fitting.
They aren't though. They're loose.
The point is, Saggy, it's about getting cool visuals and to make the heroes and actors look even better physically.
Yeah, that's kind of the point though. So I'll bring up a key example of this. This just came to my, this popped in my head. So look at Samus Aran here, right? She got some tiggle bitties. Okay, she got some tiggle bitties, and then look at her armor here. Her armor here is it's a protective piece of armor.
Pure armor. Yeah.
It's pure armor. Protecting the titties.
That's not to show off her titties.
Well, the whole point too is that you couldn't even tell it's a woman technically.
Yeah, until the end. Yeah.
All right, but you know what though? Look at Zero Suit Samus. She's got a boob sock.
Yeah.
She's got a boob sock. I don't know how else to fucking say it. Like
at least Queen Dani said that the best explanation is like Spartans did it for intimidation, which that's logical. But still, armor plate to protect the titties. Yes.
Armor plate titties.
That doesn't protect the titties.
Whatever you can.
I'm all for protecting the titties. Okay.
I love how this is I love how this is the conversation you wanted to have, Saggy, when it comes to Black Manta.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk about some boob armor.
Aquaman and Black Manta, like you guys do, you nerds. Okay.
Nerds.
I mean, like I would argue though that maybe need to put a little bit more definition down in the crotchal area. If they're gonna have those kind of abs, it's like at least have an outline. Someone should stuff a banana in there,
right? Like a big bulge, exactly.
And then at least in this image can be a thirst trap. That could be a total thirst trap for chicks.
I love how the first tweet I see underneath in the replies is effing WB man #fire Toby Emmerich now.
Oh, Jay, yeah, that guy is definitely a cultist. I mean, he used to follow me, he doesn't anymore. I've lost so many Snyder Cut followers, so many, and then I lost them all. That's fine with me. I'm all good with that one. But all right, here, why don't we take a quick look at the other big news of the day, which is apparently Benedict Cumberbatch confirms potentially extensive Doctor Strange 2 reshoots.
I can't believe Grace Randolph might have actually been right about something.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah. Now that you said that, I should have known. I could have cued it.
Well, what do you know?
Here's the thing. We might not like Grace, but when she's right, she's sometimes right.
Well, I mean,
compliment when she's right.
So, I mean, I don't know what any of this is. I was looking on Mikey's website to see about whether or not he had mentioned anything with this, and I didn't see anything on there. And I
talked to him on Sunday during Max's member stream. He kind of mentioned in terms of just like everything getting pushed back that it really wasn't anything too seriously to be concerned about. It's just more production time, more post-production time. It definitely seems like Doctor Strange, they wanted to do more reshoots. Again, probably I can believe that they want to maybe fix some of the tone issues. I know Grace is now tweeting that the idea now is like tone down Wanda a little bit. That way she's not too much of a psychotic villain in this movie, to make her more sympathetic. And the idea is also to put in more character cameos, probably from the What If series. Maybe more ties to Loki.
Empathetic, not sympathetic.
Same thing, whatever.
No, empathetic.
That could be something. That could be something on there. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're trying to do, but you know, but the term extensive is what I'm really interested by. So he says here that a tweet from the account Doctor Strange Update featuring an interview with Benedict Cumberbatch says here, in a new interview with today's show, Benedict Cumberbatch reveals that there will be additional reshoots for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So he says here, expect extraordinary things. Well, I mean, like we've already at this point we've kind of already.
May, yeah, right? he said we're doing some reshoots in November and December. So he's going to be doing reshoots in November, December, and then he's going to go immediately into promotion for Spider-Man.
This is basically going to kick off like the summer movie season in a way.
That picture
right?
is
So like,
funny
of course, they're going to want to add as much shit as possible.
That picture for some reason cracks me up because he's got like a, I don't know. It for some reason just makes me giggle because it's like they're trying to have his like outfit, but it's like regular.
You still got the fucking cloak over, yeah.
Right, he still got the cloak over, which makes me laugh. I don't know why it makes me laugh.
Because it's Mephisto, that's why. Anyway.
Yeah, Anna is very much invested into this. This is Mephisto.
Yes, it is.
So
I think it's Doctor Strange Supreme, but you know.
What's the difference?
I thought that originally, like when I first saw this, before I even thought it was Mephisto, I also thought it was Strange Supreme, but I don't know. Like,
well, Strange Supreme is a dark dimension magic user who dabbles in more dark elements. You know, he that's the kind of character who would probably break the multiverse, not our Stephen Strange.
Okay, after seeing What If, though, do you really think that he'd like fucking beat up on mainline Peter Parker?
No, I don't think he. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's probably just regular Doctor Strange. We're thinking too much into it.
That's probably Mephisto.
Well, was that Doctor Strange Supreme that was in What If?
Yes, that was Strange Supreme.
Okay, I mean, like, yeah. After What If, it's like I could see that character popping up.
Yeah, DC talk. I will try. I can't be everywhere. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Maybe Strange Supreme will be in the movie, but I think that this is Mephisto.
Cloud Chaser.
We'll have to wait and see here. H Bart's here asking, "Hey RJ, you good after Sunday?"
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Sunday was got a little crazy, but I'm doing good. So,
what on Max's stream?
Yeah, I kind of blew up a couple times for a lot of different reasons.
Oh, on who?
What?
I only tuned in towards like the end.
Yeah, I kind of snapped and said some pretty extensive cuss words. So
you pulled at me.
I kind of pulled a Saggy, yeah.
That sounds about right.
So,
well, I mean, you know. That's kind of how it works, I guess.
I don't typically get like that, but I kind of reached a breaking point, so I was just like, I've had enough.
my breaking point is like every day.
Crazy day in the Melonverse.
Yes.
Pretty
impressive. I lasted about almost an entire year, so you know.
Who'd you get? Was it Hans you got mad at, or
no? Hans is no. It was Zeno actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay. I don't know. I just work here. Okay, so we talked about that, and then I'm just trying to race through this here, and then finally, there was Warner Brothers just coming out swinging again at Ruby Rose. This is still a story. This is still a story.
Was there some emails that came out?
Yesterday, she put a whole bunch of emails and stuff up. Max and I went through a bunch of them. There was still a whole bunch more to go through. I'm like, I ain't wasting another fucking like hour going through all these, because it doesn't really she's just trying to pitch her side. But one of the more salacious claims is about Dougray Scott, trying to claim that he was abusive, that he yelled at a female stunt performer and everything else. And he came out and denied it. And now Warner Brothers TV has issued another statement claiming that Dougray Scott was a consummate professional and never received any allegation against him, and that he was greatly respected and admired by his colleagues and was a leader on the Batwoman set. Now, that is what a lot of, again, this is he said, she said, the truth is probably somewhere in the center of this. But the thing is a lot of people are going to argue that, clearly there were lots of problems. I don't know. I think everyone just wants to attack Warner Brothers is what I think. And
how many?
Well, I think they see blood in the water. And I think also too, they were, I told you when I talked about this with you last time, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think there's some truth on Ruby Rose's side. I think maybe there are some issues on with her as well. I just think it was just all around just a bad working environment for everybody. Everybody was in the wrong.
How many actors have to come out about Warner Brothers like me and Anna were talking about earlier today? How many people have to come out and say that there are issues and it's like the WB's credibility is very, very, very lacking right now.
Look, just because I'm not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt doesn't mean that they're always going to do the wrong thing, but like they're slowly whittling down like any like benefit of the doubt that I could possibly offer them. That's just how I look at it.
Right. That's how I feel too. It's like, how many actors have to come out and be like, y'all doing dirty, and people like, but why? But why?
Well, again, I think a lot of it has to do with that like actors are always going to have different, like there's productions can go smoothly or productions can go poorly. And but the other thing on that side, in this situation, no one else has come out to corroborate Ruby Rose. Right, with Ray Fisher, you had Jason Momoa corroborate, Gal Gadot,
the whole Justice League came out.
Everyone corroborated the situation. There was unity on that front. Whereas in this situation, Ruby Rose is coming out and she's like, "Yo, I was mistreated," and then other people are like, "Nah, you just did punk."
Well, I think, like I said, I think the truth's somewhere in the middle. I think that she definitely experienced some mistreatment that maybe kind of twisted her view of the show and kind of maybe
but she's also Ruby Rose, a generally unpleasant person to be around. So yeah,
right. But she might have already had a bad attitude. It just kind of made things worse to where she lashed out on people who were maybe undeserving of that lashing out on.
She's anything but a fucking gem.
Yeah, that's what I kind of mean though. It's like, and I think everybody was at some kind of fault. I think Ruby probably didn't treat some of the crew members very well, but I also think there are some circumstances on the set that probably were dangerous to her and abusive towards her as well. So
I don't know, if I broke a rib while doing something that a stunt person could have done, I would have been pretty pissed off too. I'm just saying, y'all really couldn't have gotten a lookalike Raven-Symoné or somebody to like do this stunt for me.
But like even then, like stunt people shouldn't have to like they're not compensated enough for like what they do, and we talked a bit about that too. So like. Yeah, I'm kind of like in the day and age that we have right now, there's no excuse for big corporations to like, when it comes to shit like that, kind of like, just there's so much you can fucking CGI. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're right, because like when I was in the medical field, my job, even though I wasn't like a nurse or anything, I was just a medical tech. I was still handling things that could possibly be hazardous to my health, and I was part-time. And I made more money than people who were EMTs, but that, like I said, that because I was working with stuff that was a risk to my health and well-being, so I got paid accordingly. Which I think everyone should. If you're doing dangerous shit, you should definitely get paid to do dangerous shit. At least if you're gonna die, you can leave your family behind something.
Well, that'd be nice. You know what I mean? Like if you ever, I mean, I think that's kind of where we find ourselves right now. Is this massive labor movement is happening, and so many people are wanting better working conditions and better pay, and then also probably a share of the pie at the end of the day, where because their time, their value is not being appreciated in many instances, and we're going to see a lot more of that as time goes on. And so with any luck, we'll get some unionization and we'll get some things changed.
Ooh, Watcher. What if Watcher's gonna get put? What if this entire thing is just a publicity stunt where they were like, because let's be real, who really cares about Batwoman? I think Batwoman's a stupid show. I don't know how people watch it. I don't even know how they're on like their third season. I don't know.
The show has enough negative PR. Do they really?
Wait, are you saying it's a publicity stunt for her to come back to the show?
It could be just a publicity stunt to get eyes on the show.
Well, okay, so
that'd be too crazy. I don't know.
Well, there was a couple days prior to everything. With this going down, there was a trending topic where, like, they had said Batwoman was trending, and the rumor was that, that Ruby Rose was going to be coming back to Batgirl or to Batwoman, right? Like that was going to be the thing, and a lot of people were like, like, no, it's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden, like this story broke with her dropping all this information. So my question then kind of becomes, was there a deal on the table that ended up just going and falling through? And then after that, she decided that she was going to, like just spill the tea because like, screw it. I'm going to burn the bridge. I just that to me seems like, out of all this time, there was just that random Twitter trend that I saw, and then all of a sudden it's goes away. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of looking at it wrong. I guess.
I mean, that's possible. It could be one of those situations. Like I said, we don't know because we can only go by what each side is saying. We aren't on set. We can speculate all we want, but unless we were there, we don't know what really went down.
No, I mean, no, that's definitely true. I mean, there are a lot of people that that definitely, I think there's, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. I have heard people complain pretty heavily about how how Ruby Rose herself isn't attractive to them, right? Like Ruby Rose wasn't an attractive female star. And then I've heard that complaint. I don't know how true that is, but then it's like, would it be possible that she's trying to tank the show right now because maybe she's jealous of JVC Leslie, getting another season and it being pretty well integrated into everything and everything else, and I use this particular photo because she will show a lot more skin on her own Instagram.
Damn.
Excuse me. Has no one seen Ruby Rose in Orange is the New Black? She was full on nude. Hello.
Yes, I have. Now that I think about it, I have seen that scene.
Yes, a couple of scenes where.
Well, I've only seen the one. I've seen like as one side thing. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't think that's the case. But it does feel like she wants to get the show taken off the air because I think that she's, like, what's her end game here? Is it accountability? But what does that look like? Right? That's what I'm talking about here. Is it Carolyn Dries fired off the show? Is it Greg Berlanti removed as running his own company that oversees all these things? Is it a no yelling policy on set? What is it? And every time, like all of these situations arise, I always want to ask those questions. And at least in the case of the trans walkout over at Netflix, they had a list of demands. They had their set list of demands, unlike other people that have done this kind of stuff without any list of demands and just wanted immediate overnight institutional change without any roadmap to actually get there.
Ruby Rose, I will totally stand by you if you take me out on a date.
Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. Saggy at that point.
So much for unbiased reporting.
What are you talking about?
Nothing, I'm just saying. You're biased.
Anyway, Mo Moon here with $2. Thanks, buddy. Says Taco Bell will make the Sorcerer Chalupa Supreme. That could be a tie-in for the movie, and I would probably try it.
That's where my mind goes whenever I think of Strange Supreme. It's like, oh yeah, with some sour cream and tomatoes on there. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but Taco Bell, man, that shit will ruin your butthole.
Not mine.
It'll clean it out, yeah.
I've got a formidable butthole.
Listen, wait, what? I'm sorry, what?
I don't know. I don't know.
Did that come from Anna's mouth?
We've officially reached that hour of the show.
No,
all right.
Yeah, when Anna's talking like that, that's when you know we reached that hour of the show.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go into. I wasn't going to talk about this because I don't necessarily feel like it's super crazy, but RJ had requested it in the side chat. Brendan Fraser cast as Firefly in the Batgirl movie.
Maybe.
Hey,
Boris Kidd from THR is saying that he might not be Firefly, that he heard he's playing Carmine Falcone. So there's going to be two villains, Carmine Falcone, Firefly, and potentially Killer Moth. Reason I say that is because it seems like they're adapting the comic book Batgirl Year One, which is Batgirl's origin story where she takes on Firefly and Killer Moth, which is a great comic, by the way. If you haven't read that, go read it. It's great. So,
I don't care about Batgirl.
I'm just happy about Brendan Fraser getting more work, man. Especially in a big blockbuster like this. That's great to see.
Can you imagine if this was...
It's not really a blockbuster because it's going to HBO Max.
They're treating it like a blockbuster, though.
Are they?
I would say
Are they really? I mean, I don't know, man. It's going to have a smaller budget. It's going to have an HBO Max streamer budget. That ain't really blockbuster.
You got a really talented... You have really talented directors behind the camera. I think the directors are Bad Boys for Life, and they're doing the Miss Marvel TV show. Though I'm a little worried about that for reasons. I don't know. This casting and basically the confirmation they're doing Batgirl Year One, I'm pretty happy about, to be honest. So
Brendan looking kind of thick though. He could still get it.
I feel like this could definitely be like DC's like a movie similar to Homecoming, have those similar type of vibes. Like, you know what I mean? I think that could
yeah.
Be
well, the thing is, if if he's playing Firefly, Firefly is a former firefighter in some incarnations who turns into like a. It depends on the version. Sometimes he's just a crazy arsonist that gets burned by his own fire. Then he has to wear a protective suit to keep him alive. Other versions, he's a disgruntled firefighter who's trying to expose corruption in the GCPD and the police department. I don't know what version they're going to be. Either way, if he's Firefly and he has the burn marks, he's probably going to be in the suit like 90% of the movie. So it's just going to be his voice, and we know he does great voice work based off Doom Patrol. So.
What the heck? After Mummy, what happened to Brendan Fraser? He kind of just wasn't.
He got blacklisted from Hollywood.
Why though?
Yeah. It wasn't so much that he got blacklisted. Like, I know his ex-wife absolutely fucked him, and then I think he was also hit on by a male producer.
Yeah, and he was hit on, and he was he's alleged that he was groped and sexually harassed by a male producer. So.
I'm not surprised. Well, I always liked Brendan Fraser. I'm glad to see that he's getting the roles again because, he had a really good, promising career, and that's why I was like, what did happen to him? He kind of fell off.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing smaller stuff for a while, and then he, he did like a movie with Harrison Ford. There was also, of course, The Mummy 3 that came out, I want to say in 08 or 09.
Yeah, I was around there.
It was, and that was, terrible.
Didn't they try to reboot The Mummy and it was awful with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, they did, but that had nothing to do with the Brendan Fraser stuff.
It was a brand new take. Yeah, they were trying to start MonsterVerse.
Yeah, it was awful. They should never have done that. That was just. But that's nice. Like I said, I am happy to hear. Hopefully, he does get a role. I don't care what he does, as long as he's working. He deserves it. He worked really hard.
Yeah, well, I'm curious, because I'm reading the chat. James, why do you disagree with the same directors doing Batgirl and Ms. Marvel? I'm just curious.
Probably from jumping from Marvel over to DC or something. I mean,
that's not like a bad thing.
They're working directors, though. It doesn't really matter.
Joss Whedon did it.
Well, that was bad.
That's a terrible example, Saggy.
That was the worst analogy you could have made.
I'm just saying. Directors do that. What the hell?
I'm just saying that was a bad comparison to make because that movie ended up being a disaster.
Yeah, someone's skeptical about this, and then Saggy's like, well, what about the worst example of this ever happening in human history? It's like, well, I don't know.
Listen, I didn't say it was a good idea. I'm just saying directors do work on both rival companies. Jeez.
That was pretty. That was pretty funny.
I forgot. Yeah, Fraser's gonna be in he's in that movie called The Whale about like a severely obese man based on like a play. That's like his Oscar play, and then he's doing the next Scorsese movie too. So he's getting a lot of big work.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, here's my problem though with this. If he's playing Firefly or if he's in a mask, and he's just doing voice acting work, he's doing the same thing over on Doom Patrol. It's like not going to be very different. You know what I mean? I mean, like he'll have probably a different
Robot
voice.
Man and Firefly are very different characters, though. To be fair,
yeah, but it's still very much it's still two DC characters for an HBOMax specific show doing voice acting work. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, they're different multiverses, but if all multiverses are all part of the same universe, it's like, come on. Come on.
It's not just a bunch of characters hold on. Multiverse. It's a DC cinematic multiverse.
Well, I was going to say, it's not really a competition, though. I think we have to look beyond Marvel versus DC. They want each other to do well. I hate the notion that it's all about a competition. No, it's just... Like, Feige has openly said that he wants DC to succeed because them doing well speaks well for them because it means the genre as a whole is healthy.
Exactly. That's a really good thing to say and a good way to look at it, too.
Right. And it's like, I don't think it's even really much of a competition. DC has, like I said, DC has owned their IPs forever. They never lost any of them. Marvel kind of had a...
Only on the big screen, but yes.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, I think in the hearts and minds of fans and maybe the critics and media, it's a competition, but they're not looking at it as a competition. I think it's more so the fans projecting that.
No, competition makes fucking industries better too. Like the more competition there is, like the more real competition there is, the better. Like that goes for everything.
Yeah, but let's be fair here. There's competition between Marvel and DC, and what has DC done to step up to the plate?
Batman.
Fiddle around, fucking shove thumbs up their ass and do nothing. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, they go, oh, hey guys, so in was it early 2018, we're going to do the Trench and then the New Gods. And then Marvel a month later is like, hey guys, we're doing Eternals. And then DC's like, psych.
Yeah. Well, I heard Disney Plus Day might be crazy in terms of what they announced. Like,
yeah. Here's it. It's not going to be hard to beat DC fandom. Let's be fair.
But they're not competing. Here's the thing: people who are fans of Superman are always going to be fans of Superman. It doesn't matter. They're not gonna. That doesn't mean they can't be fans of Captain America either.
I do agree that they're not competing, but it's only because they suck so bad. That's the reason that they're not
Anna.
Well, if you want to put it that way, it's not really a competition because
you know what?
they're not even trying.
I prefer DC Comics. I prefer DC Comics. I've always thought DC heroes are better, but like.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not even a competition between the companies because like Anna said, Anna prefers DC. So Anna's not gonna like all of a sudden decide to wake up and be like, oh wow, DC came out with a bad movie, let me go switch over to Marvel and like Marvel stuff. It's not, it's not a competition. It's like RJ said, they are the dominant companies that are doing the superhero genres. So it's not a competition. They're basically doing it together. People just have their option of which heroes they like. Some people like both. Like Anna only likes DC. Some people only like Marvel. It's not a competition. It's just literally just
I don't only like DC, to be fair, but.
Right, but it's like people like what they like. They can both exist in the same world. Like, no, I don't think DC or Marvel is going to take each other under. I mean, Marvel's owned by Disney. Disney's not going to let that die, and I don't think DC cares either way. They're both very successful companies.
Are they though?
I mean, are they still making money?
Are they?
That's not a metric.
Yes, I'm asking. Are they still making money?
I mean. Are they?
They're not doing that bad.
They're not doing that bad. They're still making money.
I don't know.
Here's the thing: the HBOMax stuff that they're doing, actually, like Blue Beetle and Batgirl, I think might actually surprise people because I think they're actually going to put more love and care into those.
Hey, if those are good, they're good, but we haven't seen them yet, so it's hard to know. But,
I'm just saying, I like the way they're shaping up creatively, I guess is my point.
No, I agree.
DC's doing bad because they're only focusing on putting all their resources on mainly the two superheroes that have made them the most money for the last decade, where Marvel has literally just dabbled with a bunch of different characters.
Yeah, and just to answer James your comment, I would say the reason DCU is doing so bad is not because of the competition from Marvel. It's simply because they made terrible decisions along the way.
After terrible decision, yeah, like the fact
they were a victim of their own failures, not the other.
They easily could have catapulted off Marvel's success in the superhero genre and made a bunch of fucking money themselves, but they've squandered it. Completely.
James, if you cheat on DC with Marvel, I won't snitch. I promise.
If you cheat,
I won't snitch. I won't tell DC that you're sleeping out.
And it's not Greg Berlanti fourth. It's Walter Hamada and just like DC Films. He's not heading up those streaming stuff because they're movies, not series. So.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I think pivoting to HBO Max is really the best call of action that DC can do. I think competitively and theatrically, they can't compete with Marvel, but they can really fight back against the streaming wars and give content over there. But then again, Warner Brothers also has a lot of IPs that they're going to have to really start mining, and I think DC is something that they might once they start doing the House of the Dragon, and we start getting into more Game of Thrones shows, that's going to dwarf anything DC related. That's not Batman.
Yeah, but DC's still important, though. It's still a pillar of their company.
I don't see it as being as much of a pillar anymore. It's like, if you look at the CW shows, those ratings, I don't know what they do streaming wise. I don't know what they do on Netflix at the end. I don't know what they did on HBO Max, but they only get maybe 1.4 million people watching each episode, which is so minor for when you look at, let's say, WandaVision had 50 million people watching, and those episodes were top in the world. Nothing on the CW will even come remotely close. Nothing on HBO Max is going to even come remotely close. So it's what is it they're trying to do? Who is it they're speaking for? Who is their audience? I know people say Superman and Lois is good because it's got a bit of that HBO Max budget, and the same with Stargirl. But again, if those aren't moving the needle, and if those aren't tying into a larger universe that's going to be shared across everything, all they're doing is kneecapping themselves. And I'm saying that with the multiverse because there's no way it's going to last. One, maybe two attempts with it, and it fails to catch on because it's going to fail to catch on.
DC, right? You're not talking about Marvel. We're talking
No.
about
Marvel's already established the multiverse. They're already establishing it. They've taken their time to get there.
They did it right. Just
and
like
that's the point.
Original universe, right?
You know what would make DC great? If they just did a DC Marvel crossover.
What?
No, Saggy, because that'll play into
No, we're doing it. We're doing it.
No, Saggy, let me explain. You can't do that because then that confirms the fears of the DC Anon conspiracy theorists that believe that James Gunn was sent by Kevin Feige to infiltrate Marvel to create a crossover.
I don't care. I don't care about all that bullshit. I want to see.
Don't reward the conspiracy theorists.
Superman fight. No, shut the hell up. It's gonna happen someday. Y'all need to understand. And Blue Beetle's gonna save the DCU. That is all.
The DCU.
Wow. Okay.
Crossover, baby. It's happening. I want to see it. Damn it! I want to see Spider-Man in the Justice League. I want to see it all. Do it. Bring it. I want to see Iron Man come back to life. Don't y'all want to see Iron Man come back to life?
No,
not for a while. No.
No, you guys are stupid. I'm sussing all of you. You're all dumb. I'm calling it.
Because I want to see logical progression and not the same actor playing the character forever. Because I'd like for him to move on and do other things.
Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. End of discussion.
All right, I'm out of here.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. So I think Jacob McKenzie had a super chat.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry, I missed a super chat there. Hold on. Jacob here says BVS prequel comic is canon with Batman fighting Firefly.
Yeah, I looked it up. There was a comic back in like 2015 before the movie came out. I never heard of it though, so I really there's no way that they're going to acknowledge that comic as canon in the timeline.
No.
Especially after the Flash movie, there's going to be like, hey, ignore that comic. Don't worry about it. We're doing our own thing. So.
Yeah, no, they're not going to establish any of that. None of it's going to matter. None of it's going to go on.
Even if Zack himself said that comic was canon to his movies, it really doesn't matter because they're going to do what they want.
Yeah, I mean, remember they want Justice League to be to be the canon.
I mean, it would be cool to read it, kind of see what Zack's interpretation of the character was like. But outside of that, it's like...
Thank you, Moisture. Moisture's on it. See, Moisture understands. You guys are all haters, all of y'all, all a bunch of haters.
It's not about being a hater. It's about looking at things logically.
RJ, you smell of hate all over your stinky body.
And you smell like wet cheese.
You smell like
this.
dirty...
Let's be fair. She smells like yeast.
Oh my Jarbo.
I wasn't gonna go that far. Cheese.
It doesn't have a smell. We had this discussion. If it has a smell, it's pretty bad. But normally, it doesn't have a smell.
The ocean then.
No, if it smells like the ocean, that's infected. It's infected.
Anyway,
don't touch it.
Don't
touch it, Jarbo.
I'm back. Are you done speaking blasphemy, Shaggy?
We're talking.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are coming into the 2-hour mark, so it is time to call it a night. Because of course I'm now back on my usual schedule. So I would like to thank everyone for coming on by tonight. This has been again all over conversation as always. A lot of fun. Thank you to my guests. Everyone, say where they can find you. Saggy, not you, but Anna and RJ totally.
You want to go first, Anna?
No, you go first.
You can find me at Resonant Justice for Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. EST, go subscribe to the Fort Nerds Network if you want to. I'm launching my own show over there, so that should be a lot of fun. It's Marvel Mania, so if you like Marvel stuff, I'll be doing that. So, yeah.
Cool. And then, Anna, where can they find you?
Oh, go check out my channel, youtube.com/Underhaven. I've been shilling this out constantly, but go check out my irate gamer video if you haven't yet. It's really the best thing I've ever fucking put together on my channel. It's really worth your time, so go check it out if you want to after the stream. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then, Saggy, of course, where can people find you?
You can find me right here on $3. Oh, wait, I was like, what happened?
I booted out the wrong person.
Jesus
wow.
Christ.
I knew it, and I was like, wait, why did he try to boot me and he booted out? You thought you fucked up.
Oh, you think you're so clever, Jar.
No, I'm really not. I'm really not that clever.
That's why I booted booted you instead of me.
I booted the wrong person. That's what happened.
He tried to make a funny and it failed.
That is very true. That is very, very true.
You want to take two? Do you want to take two?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we'll take two. You ready?
Oh, God.
Yes.
Okay. So you can find me right here on $3 Theater, annoying Jarbo, Anna, RJ, and you, the lovely chat.
Yay!
Oh, you didn't kick me.
You didn't kick her. You
missed the cue.
I wasn't.
I love how Anna almost misgendered Saggy. Yo, I was kidding. It hit her.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
They, them, pizza bagel. I don't know what we're going by today, but anything could happen here.
Anna, you can call me whatever you want, Anna.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fucking amazing. Yeah.
What's your Neo pronoun?
Neo.
Boba.
Boba. You identify as Boba?
I identify as Boba.
All right. That's and then so I think tomorrow we might finally get a look at this. My editor for The Last Duel is finally getting close to getting it done. For the first okay, so my friend hit me up, was like asking me to edit these podcasts. And I'm like, all right, cool. So the first thing I send him is literally like a 37-minute long episode. Is the first thing I send him about a story from literally the late 1300s, like 1386. So it's nearly a 750-year-old story. And I'm like, turn this into a 38-minute video. And he's like, it's taken him 2 weeks and he's fucking pissed.
Oh,
he's like,
oh my God.
he's like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, how's it going? And he's all like, I'm working on it. I don't quite know what all to put in here. And I'm all like, dude, I don't really give a shit. Like, I just want there to be good music in it. And like, that's it. That's fine. You know, like, again, this is storytelling. You know, you have limited stuff. Just pull from the Last Duel movie if you have to. Like, I don't care. And you know, because he's trying. Have you guys ever heard of Mr. Ballin?
Mr. Ballin.
Mr. Ballin, he does like a lot of the storytelling stuff, like 3 people that should be dead but aren't, part number 28. And he'll, you know, talk about these stories and whatnot. And the videos are pretty good. I've been listening to them to kind of get an idea for like, because, you know, like how to tell more stories on YouTube and stuff. And then my friend wants to like edit like that, you know. And I'm like, dude, just put in good music and like have it be a musical bed, because I get lazy. I never want to do it. That's my whole point. Like, music and me never mix. We just never mix. You know, I think even Anna has criticized me before by going like, you just put the same like musical drop in like the under pedicure video.
Da 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 da. And then over again until the end of fucking time, Jarbo.
It is. But of course, that episode is available if anyone wants to hear this over on the Stranger Days podcast. You can find it at anchor.fm /Stranger Days pod, or anywhere you get your podcast. That episode is already up, as well as a few others. So that should be coming up here pretty soon. In the meantime, I will be back up. McLeod, oh my God, we've already seen that you posted that, buddy. You know, like, I get you, man. I'll take a look at that, but I don't want to talk about Dave Chappelle anymore. All right, and then yes, out of print, The Last Duel was definitely a flop, unfortunately. But womp 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 womp. If you guys want, be sure to leave a like. I'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Have yourself a great one, and peace the hell out.